It's my honor to talk to the real life Jim the Rookie Moritz. Jim, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joseph. How are you?
Oh man, I'm on pins and needles today. I couldn't wait for this moment. Doing my research on you, you're more than just a movie. You have quite a life that you have lived, and I can't wait to ask you about it. Now, you wrote 2 books. One called The Rookie, the incredible true story of a man who never gave up on his dream, and the second book just came out June 23rd. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
I recommend everybody that is watching go out and read his book because you're gonna get more detail than what I have for you. It's called Dream Makers. Surround yourself with the best to be your best. Now, first question I got is why do you do long titles?
Teacher, man. I want people to have a concept of what I'm going to be talking about. And I did that teaching, I did coaching, and now I do it speaking. And so when we sat down to write this book, I thought, you know what? I want this book to come out like I'm on stage or I'm in a living room and I'm talking to people and just telling them stories about overcoming different things and who to have around yourself and the good quality people we need around us.
So let's get down to the bread and butter. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from everywhere, man. I'm a mutt. And my dad was in the military. We moved constantly, 30 schools in 9 years. And sports was the one saving grace for me. My father was physically and verbally, but in between the lines of a ball field, whether it be, even track, basketball, baseball, football, I got to be a kid that I didn't get to be at home. And so I relish those times of just getting to be out there and getting to play a game like a regular kid.
Now, the movie depicts a very stern, tough father. He didn't show a lot of emotion. What was your dad like in real life?
I'll give you one example. He's holding my little brother one day. He looks down at me and he goes, "This is the one we wanted. We never wanted you." That was my dad.
Wow. So I guess Disney kind of cleaned it up a little bit.
That was a Dennis and Jimmy thing. And when we were filming and starting to get everything ready, he and I were hanging out a lot, and he was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. We got this Disney movie, and they're like, "Hey, we can send it over to our sister company and we can tell it like it is, or we can keep it here." And when Dennis and I sit down, we're like, we want a story about kids who were counted out, who got a second chance at life. And we want a story about older people getting that second chance and taking advantage of that. And that's the story, and that's what it's about. And it's not about anything else. It's about achieving dreams that nobody thinks you can do.
So, what exactly is your father still with us?
He passed away a few years ago. The last thing he said to me was at my grandmother's funeral, and I walked up to him and I put my arm on his shoulder and I said, "I'm so sorry about Alice." And he looked at me and he said, "Don't ever blink and talk to me again."
So that, I was going to ask you, what was your relationship with him after this?
That's it.
But so he wasn't proud of you when you went pro?
That was the one moment I think there was any semblance of proud. When I gave him that game ball and he looked at me and he didn't have anything negative to say. There was nothing positive, but he never said anything negative. And I'll tell you this, on the set, Brian Cox plays my dad. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I didn't know who Brian Cox was. And I'm like, who's this dude? They're giving him a standing ovation when he gets done. What is this about? And then I go home and he's like on every movie I see. And I'm like, oh, that's who he is.
Now, I did a little research. I didn't do a lot of research because, like I said, I watched the movie. Disney wouldn't lie to us, but I have to ask, and me and my wife have a little bet. In the beginning of the movie, is the nun story true?
Absolutely historically accurate.
I won. Thank you. Let's get to, since I just won a bet, I'm happy.
There
The
you
show
go.
that ended your career. How did that happen?
I'm in Dr. James Andrews' office in Birmingham, and all you guys have heard of Dr. Andrews, one of the top orthopedic surgeons in the world. And so he looks at me, he goes, "What do you want to do? I can fix it and put you back on the field, but the decision is yours." And I said, "Doc, it's time for me to grow up. I need to go home, figure out what I'm going to do. If I can't play the game I love, maybe I can teach it. I'll find a group of kids, teach the exact opposite of what I did, and they'll be pretty good. I'm going to go to college, I'll get a degree, eventually meet somebody, get married, start a family, buy a house, get a dog, grow up." And he goes, "That is a great plan. Start with a dog." And so I walked away at 24, 6 surgeries in 5.5 years, and I'm done. The doctors would go, "Hey, take off 9 months and then start throwing." And when you're a man, a young man, we don't have all our synapses connecting. And so they would say, take off 9 months, and I would take off like 9 days and start trying to get back in shape. And I was my own worst enemy at that time.
I understand, but I mean, being a teacher had to be I guess rewarding is the word I'm looking for.
Teaching was incredibly rewarding because I learned something new from those kids every single day. And so I walk in the classroom and my kids were smiling and they were talkative. And on the baseball field, my kids had fun and we competed with each other. And I made everything fun because as I grew up with my father and then my high school football coach, screaming, yelling, cursing, putting down, talking through people, not talking to people. And I thought, if I work with kids, I'm going to talk to the kids like they are actually human beings. I'm going to talk to them, not through them. And that was my philosophy, and it worked incredibly well. And in science classes, my kids excelled. My baseball teams won at every school I was at, and it was much needed. A teaching profession is looked down upon, and it is not fair. How do I say this without irritating people? The teachers need the parents to get out of the way so we can teach the kids.
Oh, I totally agree. I have 3 kids. Well, actually, right now I got 4 kids of my own. I got an adopted daughter, and I have a 9 and 8-year-old, and I have a newborn. And with that said, yeah, I'm happy about it too. I miss my sleep. Anyway,
I know.
So I always tell the teachers, if you have any problems, just let me know. And, we got your back. We don't, we know our kids. So if you need us, just let us know.
Last 20 years, we've kind of taken parenting as I want my kids to be my buddy. And this isn't about being a buddy. It's about raising a human being up in the right way of life so that they'll be responsible human beings as they get older.
Yeah, my saying is I'm raising adults. I'm raising adults. Yeah. I'm not raising children. My job is to make sure my son stays out of the prison and my daughter don't do anything that's going to shame my name. So that's my goal as a parent. But let's carry on. So I want to ask you, did you always know that you can throw a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, or was that something that was just a surprise to you?
Complete shock. Early in my career, 88, once in a while I would touch 90, done, 24 out, 28 have a surgery. They cut 85% of the deltoid out of my shoulder. You're done. You'll never pitch again. Start teaching and coaching. Start throwing batting practice. My kids can't hit me. We make the bet. Then they start hitting me everywhere. And so I think, you know what? I still can't throw hard. And I go to the tryout and they're like, you throw 98. I'm like, you are kidding me. I'm getting sued. I've been throwing 98 at high school kids. And
that's what I wanted to ask you. Was that totally accurate in the movie? It was just y'all sat down and y'all was talking and you're like, Coach, It's your turn, coach. I mean, was it like that?
Absolutely, it was like that. Even during the movie production, Dennis came over to me during the scene where he's going to talk to the kids. It's the bet scene. And he said, "What
Yeah.
happened here?" And I said, "I wanted to push my kids. I didn't want to break them. I wanted them to learn how to dream." I said, "We're not just trying to get out of high school. We're trying to go to college, and we're trying to find a trade or a craft, and we're trying to improve ourselves, and we're trying to get that dream we don't think we can get to, and we're not going to quit. We're not going to let somebody else dictate to us what we're going to do with ours." And then they go back, and he didn't write anything down, right? And so I'm like, he didn't get any of that down. He went back and they said action. He said word for word what I said. And I went, oh, yeah, he's an actor. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Is it true that it took 8 hours to film that scene?
Yeah, for like 30 seconds. It took 12 hours. And
12 hours.
the wind was blowing like 50 miles an hour that day. And so they've got their expensive microphones out. They're trying to move it. The sun's moving. They're moving the dugout. They're moving everything around so they can keep the shade the same. So when they blend the film, everything looks like it's done at the same time. And when I watched the movie, I could not believe you could not even tell the wind was blowing.
This is probably a tough question, just because I know you probably taught 20,000 kids in time you was teaching, but the kids portrayed in the movie, do you still have a relationship with them?
Absolutely. I have a foundation which we go into inner cities and help kids get off the streets and back on the field by redoing fields, buying uniforms, getting weight rooms, whatever kids need to compete. Because if they're inside of a school, they're not down the street where we don't know where they are.
And
if
those
they're proud,
and
those kids have helped me.
Oh, really? And those kids are like my age now, probably.
How old are you?
Old enough to be their age.
My kids call me now and they're like, "Coach, we're older than you were when you tried out." And I'm like, "Shut up."
Yeah. I'm a couple years away from 40. So
Yep, you're their age.
yeah. But that movie was such an inspiration. And Disney made, inspirational sports movies. Out of all the Disney movies, sports movies wise, which one was your favorite besides the Wookiee?
I love Remember the Titans.
Yeah,
and I think that that speaks to where we need to get society to right now. We need to get along, and we need to accept the fact that everybody is the same and we're all trying to survive and thrive in this world.
Yeah, you couldn't say it better myself. I couldn't say it better myself. Did you really take the kids to the tryout?
Absolutely. I took my kids. The second time I tried, I took my kids and half my baseball team.
I just remember in the movies, you just sitting there. Dennis Quaid was sitting there by your truck, just playing games, changing diapers, and the coach, you're up and you're changing diapers. And I just take myself back to Chuck E. Cheese. And I'm taking both a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old into the bathroom, trying to change their diapers. And now you're sitting there changing a diaper and they say, "Oh, come on, it's time for the pitch." And
yeah.
Wasn't it kind of awkward a little bit? Like,
oh, dude, nobody would even play catch with me when I got there for the tryout. And I didn't think it would be anything other than you're fat, you're old, this is embarrassing. And the kids, you can't even get your high school kids out. What are you doing here? And what it came down to was I made a bet and I had to go do it. And so for 4.5 hours, the kids and I had a picnic, played games, changed diapers, got sunburned. We're in Texas, like 9,000 degrees. And it was strange because everybody was way younger than me.
yeah, but you showed them, didn't they? How long were you when you finally made a team? How long? First off, how long did it take? Because I've never been to a major league tryout. How long did it take for you to make the team?
I made the bet with my kids, and 3 months later, I tried out. 3 months after that, I was in the big leagues.
Okay, so using the minors for 3 months?
Yeah. As a 35-year-old old man.
Well, hey, 35 is not as old as it used to be. With that said, let's go back. first your first game. I mean, you kind of when you watched the movie, you saw your kids and your wife and Dennis Quaid is, hey, and was it really as special as Disney made it out to be in the movie?
I think it was more so because for the first time in 3 months, I get to see my kids, my high school kids, even kids I coached against. I'm in my favorite ballpark in my home state, in a field in which a year earlier I sat in the left field stands going, man, I would love to play on that field. And then a year later, I'm on that field. And all the guys I had played softball with, we were on our way to a softball state tournament that year. We're in the stands for that first game too. And they're like, you said you wanted to be here. And then walking into a clubhouse with Wade Boggs, instant Hall of Famer, Fred McGriff, Roberto Hernandez, Jose Canseco, a dream come true, a one I'd wanted since I was 5. And I tell everybody this, if I'd have got that dream at 19, I would not have respected that goal like I did when I was 35. After you go back to college and you work with kids and you teach kids and you raise kids and you find out life is really hard, and then you get that second chance because of that group of high school kids, it makes it very special. So yeah, that day was incredible.
What was your favorite game in the majors?
I don't know about favorite game. I loved everywhere, but I really loved Fenway Park. And I remember running out Fenway at 10 years of age. We lived in Connecticut, and I was on the all-star team. And we were up in the left field bleachers underneath the rafters, and I'm sitting there watching Hank Aaron play for the Braves against the Red Sox. And at 10 years of age, I thought that would be awesome. Hank Aaron signed a ball for us. It's cool. Took the ball home. We live in Connecticut. It's wintertime. We ran out of baseballs. And I sandlotted Hank Aaron's ball. A guy who broke so many walls down on his way to becoming the home run king, and I ruined that ball. At 37, he and I are closing the stock market down when the movie comes out. Russell Athletics was an endorser. He was one of their big people. And so he and I are doing the closing bell, and I tell him my story. He laughs, and I go, Mr. Aaron, can I have another ball? He goes, if you hadn't told me that story, I'd have signed anything you wanted to. And he slaps me on the back and started giggling. Hank Aaron slapped me on the back and was giggling at me. That was cool. That is history right there. That is baseball royalty.
Yes, and so are you. You may not feel that way, but you are. You're definitely an inspiration to us all. Before I let you go, I really got to hit this new book. Miss Patterson, I'm probably gonna put her on Front Street. She just sent me a copy of the book today. She says she's gonna get in trouble. I was like, sorry, but I glanced over it today. I'm definitely gonna read the book. Dream Killer. The book's named Dream Makers, but the term Dream Killers really hit me because just like you, my father's never told me that he never wanted me, but he was somewhat verbally abusive. Somewhat. Well, okay, he was. But you're surrounded by dream killers. What would your advice be to that person?
Get rid of them. And I know sometimes you can't, and you work with people like that. And that's why you surround yourself with dream makers, the people who want to see you succeed. And my grandparents were that for me. Those high school kids were that for me. My wife, Shauna, is that for me. And when you have a solid team around you, you can deal with the dream killer now and then. And you just do what you have to do and you move on. If you work with them, it's tougher because you have interfacing. You just be the best you can be, and they're going to be who they are, but don't carry their baggage with you. Don't let them determine what your emotion is. And that is the best advice I can give because I had to cut my father out of my life. I had to rearrange where my mother is in priority. There are certain people who said they were there for me, and I don't know if they're there for the rookie or if they're there for Jim Morris. And the rookie is not my identity. It's something I did. And so if they're just there to tag along and be a part of that, I don't want anything to do with them. I want them to be a part of my team every day. And so if you're going to be a dream maker on my team, you're going to push me to achieve more dreams. And one of the lines I use in the book and I use in my speeches, you want these people around you because the dream you start chasing may not be the one you end up loving the most. Never in my life did I think my high school counselor would go, you will never, ever make it in college. It's a good thing you're going to play baseball. And then I go to college and make straight A's. And then I start teaching. And then I start coaching. The kid who wasn't even supposed to graduate from high school becomes a science teacher. And then has a degree in psychology. And people want to put limits on us. Those people need to go away. And we need to have as little to do with them as possible.
Yeah, I agree. I know for some people it's very hard because everybody in their life are dream killers, and you can't just shut up. You can't just shut off everybody. You know, I'm fortunate enough to have a wife that, you know, if I don't piss her off, she has my back. So she'll support me anything I do, as long as I don't make her angry. And trust me, I make her angry a lot. So,
well, it's marriage, man.
uh,
Men and women are different. Women want the whole story. Men want, here's the punchline. That's it. We're done. And they're like, what else? That's it. We just talk on different levels.
so your wife, Sharonda, how
Shauna.
much of it? Shonda?
Shawna. Shauna.
Shonda. Okay. Did I say it right that time?
Yeah.
I spoke to her like maybe at 1 minute before I got on the phone with you. What type of inspiration has she been in the last 20 years?
Through 58 surgeries and a journey through Parkinson's and alcohol and rehab, to the point to where we've been to so many doctors that we didn't even know who to listen to anymore. And then to be diagnosed with CTE, or too many concussions, basically, and then Parkinson's, and then have Parkinson's surgery, brain surgery, and then to have faith instilled in all of that, like my grandparents taught me, and she is that person. And what I'm talking about, dream makers, and we've come out of it on the other side. 3 years ago, I'm walking with a cane, thinking my life is just getting worse because my neurologist is going, that's just Parkinson's, it's just Parkinson's. And now I'm running and I'm lifting and I walk 5 to 8 miles a day. And the deep brain stimulator that I've had off for 2 years is coming out Friday morning. Dr. Vardaman is stunned. He's like, I don't even know who you are. You're totally different. He goes, let's get that out. And so they're taking the deep brain stimulator out Friday morning. And he goes, your brain scan is perfectly normal. You do not have Parkinson's. My neurologist, however, looks at me and goes, this doesn't happen. What did you do? And people don't get well from this. And I said, well, some people don't have faith.
Man, you are truly an inspiration to everybody, man. I know you're a busy man, and I honestly, God, I'm telling you this right now. I'm telling you, I don't want to hang up with you. You're the type of person that I just want to talk to all night long because you have that vibe, like you just the 100% positive. But I do have a last question that I had to ask you. COVID-19, your speaking arrangements is getting kind of hard.
Yeah.
If I want to go see you speak, is it a website or is it something that you're doing right now that so you can see you talk the inspiration that you speak of?
Yeah, JimTheRookieMorris.com. And you can book me, hopefully in person, because I like being in person. But otherwise, we've learned to do things virtually. And so we've got all the lights and halo lights and everything else to make my bald head shine really bright. And now we're doing meetings virtually. And I just got off the phone before you with a guy in Sydney, Australia. And so it's a different world. I don't know what normal is going to look like anymore. I've never in my 56 years seen the world stop, but we need to quit being angry and we need to start getting along, because this divisiveness is killing mankind.
Oh, I totally agree. And I wish I had the words to express, how grateful I am for somebody your capital to take the time and speak to me on my little small YouTube page. It means a lot. Everybody, I want you to please go out and read Dream Makers. Surround yourself with the best to be your best. Next book, you're going to have to do a short title.
I already got it. I already got the title.
What's that?
4 words.
What it?
When God walked in.
There you go. That's going to be the best. Will you please stay on the line, everybody else? Thank you for watching. Jim, it's been an honor, sir.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Hey, we were in Alabama. That's the first speech I talked to the Alabama. I can't get them mixed up now because I did one virtually in another state. Superintendents of Alabama were down there talking about how they're going to do this school year. And so we were at Point Clear. I get that mixed up all the time.
Well, I haven't stopped recording, so I do have one question. Who's your favorite pro and college football team?
I'm going to have to say Alabama.
Roll Tide. Who's your favorite pro team?
Don't really have a pro team. I'm a college guy.
You're a college guy? And
I
Alabama?
want to see guys who are proud to play for something before they get the money.
So you're not a Cam Newton fan?
I think he's a great talent, and I wish him the best. I think he totally got done wrong. And
that was a joke. It was a joke. It's actually an Alabama joke. If you live in Alabama, you understand it.
Well, I'm hoping Tua's knees well. That's what I'm hoping.
I'm sorry?
I'm hoping Tua's knee as well. I want to cheer for Miami, man. Tagliavola.
I made a bad joke about Cam Newton, but I'm gonna tell you, in my hometown, there's a sick kid, and he was real sick. I believe he's still alive, but it was looking grim. So everybody got together and somehow got in touch with the Carolina Panthers, and just out of nowhere, Cam Newton shows up in that kid's hospital bed, and you see it on camera because they post on social media. He comes in, a kid who can barely walk, sick. I mean, he was very sick, Jim. And he jumped out of the bed and gave Cam Newton a hug, and then you just realize how special somebody like Cam Newton really is. But see, I make a bad joke about Cam Newton, but if I can have a son, if I teach my son to be half the man Cam Newton is, I know I did my job as a father. And if my son becomes a man like you, I know I did my job as a father. Stay on the line. I got to ask some more questions I don't want to ask on camera. I appreciate it. And to everyone else, thank you for watching.
Here at Carolyn's Treasures, you can design your own belts. Alabama's my favorite team! Roll Tide! We don't like Auburn around here, but if you do, we will make you one of our Auburn championship belts. Ooh, yeah, this is heavy. Don't forget our championship wings! Best deals on anything. Daddy, this is really heavy. Yeah, we're dropping it.